On January 25th, 2024, the Atlanta Falcons hired Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris as their new head coach, and the reaction was mixed. Atlanta had just come out of the Arthur Smith era, which was some of the most bland, boring, and unimpressive football I had ever seen. So getting literally anybody else in the building was seen as a win. But hiring Raheem Morris was a weird decision. His coaching resume isn't terrible, but in comparison to every other coach we interviewed during that cycle, it shouldn't have been close. Now, before we dive into the conversation, be sure to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and let me know in the comments if you think Raheem Morris is the right guy for the job. Morris started his NFL coaching career back in 2002 as a defensive quality control coach for the Buccaneers. He helped the franchise win their first Super Bowl, got promoted to assistant defensive backs coach, then had a brief stint with Kansas State as their defensive coordinator. He went back to Tampa in 2007 as the defensive backs coach, and in 2009, after the Bucs fired John Gruden, he was named the team's head coach. His first season didn't go so well as the Bucs finished 3-13. In 2010, he was able to turn things around a bit and finish 10-6, although they just barely missed the playoffs. Their 7-game turnaround was the best in franchise history at the time, and fun fact, Morris was the first coach since the 1970 merger to start at least 10 rookies and finish with a winning record. But in 2011, they fell to 4-12, and Morris was fired. After 2 seasons in Washington, Morris was hired by the Falcons in an assistant head coach defensive backs position. He actually held quite a few titles during his first stint in Atlanta, all the way up to interim head coach when Atlanta fired Dan Quinn. One thing I've always found a little bit odd is the fact that we didn't hire Morris as our head coach for the 2021 season. We interviewed him, Eric Bieniemy, Robert Saleh, Joe Brady, Todd Bowles, Nathaniel Hackett, and Arthur Smith, and while it ultimately was not a very good coaching cycle that year, I often wonder why we didn't choose Morris just to choose him 3 years later. But nonetheless, we went with Arthur Smith. Morris was hired by the Rams in 2021 to be their defensive coordinator and helped them win the Super Bowl in his first season. Now, for a pointless recap, Raheem Morris finished his first head coaching season in Atlanta with an 8-9 record, and this was after starting 6-3. So here's the case for and against him. We'll start with against. I don't think he was the best choice. He seems like a great dude, but maybe not the best head football coach. His clock management is often very questionable, and his decision-making feels uninspired. I don't know. Most of us remember that whole timeout ordeal against the Commanders in the playoff deciding game.
In hindsight, could have been a good decision or a better decision to take that timeout.
But it was hard for me to get past the fact that he didn't bench Kirk Cousins way earlier than he should have. Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of coaching football at a professional level, but his response to the media was just kind of nothing.
Obviously coming off of last night, we played pretty well across the board like we talked about. We had the hot hand in the running game. We didn't play particularly well at the quarterback position. We didn't play well yesterday at that spot. I like to be open and honest and clear about those things. And, it was always going to be those question marks. Always going to be those question marks when it comes to the head coach, when it comes to the quarterback. And you got to be really transparent about it.
But let me play devil's advocate and give you a few reasons why it might not be that bad. There were some really exciting moments last year, and we competed well in most of the games we played in. I saw a lot of improvements from Smith's era to Morris's, even if it wasn't all that we were hoping it'd be. I also don't think it's fair to call for a coach's firing after 1 season. Raheem Morris has a lot of eyes on him. Our roster has significantly improved, and we've made some staffing changes that can push us in the right direction. It's his job to get it done, though, but I've got some hope.
You're exactly right, Led. We got to go out and find ways to get better. And we got to continue that growth mindset that we started this year that we were not able to finish. We came up short, and it's disappointing for all of us, how it happened. And we got to find ways to mitigate that low that we had in the middle of the season so we don't have that, so we can continue to get better throughout the season. We can maintain excellent play across the board for all our guys in order for us to go out there and finish and find ways to get into this tournament.